When Steel talks, everybody listens.
I'm now speaking with Curtis Pierre. Curtis is one of the pioneers of the Steel Orchestra from Trinidad and Tobago. Curtis, well, welcome. It's nice talking to you again.
Always nice talking to you, Vaughn.
All right. Listen, two projects. One project actually in terms of the documentation of this instrument. We wanted to find out about the Girl Pat Steel Orchestra, but also interestingly that your steel band, Dixieland Steel Band, pioneered a tremendous era in the movement of Pan and gave it a sense of legitimacy amongst the whole mesh of classes. Would you describe it as that?
Well, I've only learned that this was the effect much later. We were not really seen as, not even rebellious at that stage, not yet. We were just curious, adventurous. When we realized that the society was frowning on it, then the hormones came into play and we became rebellious. And that's what we were, really. It'd be nice to sit back and boast and say we were prophetic and we could see way ahead that this thing was going to be the success that it's turned out to be. But it would be fooling ourselves if that was the case. We just said, to hell with everybody. We're going to try this.
Right.
And like, serendipity-wise, it turned out to be better than we had even hoped.
Right.
We understand that. Go ahead.
How did it start?
In my case, I was at St. Mary's College, and one of the guys who was in class with me, he's now a Roman Catholic priest, Father Jervis Giraud. Somewhere in 1949, I was, 14 years old. He had gotten a tenor pound from somebody else, and his parents would not let him keep it. So, spunky me said, I'll take it. Took it home, curiously, started to fiddle with whatever little notes you could hear, and it hadn't evolved to anything like what it is now. And then at St. Mary's, I heard about Ernest Ferreira and another group that he had. Made contact with them. I took the pan over to them. None of us had any musical training. As we say in our language, we didn't know nothing.
Right.
We would call the word C sharp and B flap, just to try and sound as though we knew something. The rebelling in the school was even worse than the parents. Boys were summoned and warned not to mix with Ernest and Curtis because they were mixing with the hooligans.
Right.
It was an element that we didn't want to bring into the college.
Right.
But without any threat of anything, we just decided to plod along slowly. Our family was partly supportive. And as history writes now, it just turned the corner sociologically.
Right. But the band attained a tremendous amount of firsts. Would you describe them?
All right. Well, in the early stages, in the embryonic stages, we were one of the first types of bands to choose to link up with a steel band like Red Army, which carried the violent names.
Right.
They were in Sackville Street. We met all the guys, Sack, Aga Morris, Ozzy, Nancy, Lord Horse. We were on first name with all those guys. Another thing we did was foolishly get involved in competitions when we were really not ready for it. Merrymakers, which what Red Army evolved to, would go to a competition. All the other bands of the era would go on Dixieland, which is our second name. We really were boys from Iwo Jima.
Right.
And the name was changed to Melody Makers and then Dixieland. So we went and we appeared at music festivals, all little things at Auntie K, junior places, and we picked up some experience. So that in 1950, was the first year we came on the road. We were sponsored by Jeffrey's Beer. And it was the first band on the road made up of that element of middle class.
Right.
It is not necessarily white boys, but it is more of a class than a color thing.
Right.
It didn't mean anything to us in that day. We just felt that, at last we could come out and do what we want. It wasn't snubbed at yet, but people were looking down a bit and saying,
When Steel talks,
really?
everybody listens.
But it's something that a lot of people are aware of now, but in my opinion, I feel too few people know the real story.
Right.
I'm really I'm welcoming the opportunity to talk to you, Vaughn.
Right.
Another first was after going on the road in 1950, 10 years later, after being derided by other steel bands, say, what them little college boys coming to give us trouble for? We tackled the music festival, the big one.
Right.
And in 1960 music festival, there were 4 competitions. There were the preliminaries, there were the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the final. All elimination type competitions. We won every single one. Came first in prelims, first in quarters, first in semis, first in finals. That had never been done before, and it has never been done since. People stood up and took notice. Of course, we began to smell ourselves and say, oh, we're good. We're going to Europe.
Yeah.
Which we did. And we were one of the first bands to go to Europe without a sponsor. 1961, we went to UK and Europe looking for fortune and fame.
Right.
Got a lot of fame, but fortune is still outside.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed the life.
Yeah. The essence of Pan in those days were a unique one, because you, as a young man, you just loved the thing, and people and people didn't understand or didn't see it that way.
Right.
They simply saw the hooliganism.
Right. They didn't see any snub value, any value whatsoever in it.
Right. But how is the posture of the guys amidst the violence that was taking place around you guys? You know, the Tokyo versus the Blancas and so on.
Right. Quite honestly, Vaughn, it was a sort of rank for us, you know. That we could talk to Ellie Manette face to face, go up on the hill and talk to Barong and some of those other tough guys. And Ernest Ferrer has to be thanked for that, because Ernest never backed off for anything like that.
Right.
He went to the Merrymakers yard one night and they said, listen, you see all the little white boys? You're coming here, you're teaching our song and go and play. We don't want to see you again. And Ernest said he left that yard that night with his head down in his lap. And as he reached the pavement, you know, the barricade type of thing.
Right.
He went back down. He said, what am I doing? Let me go back and tell them. He went and he pointed his finger in his face at the captain of the band. And said, let me tell you, I'm going to open my band one day, we're going to cut all your tails. And they laugh and they hug him up and say, that's what we want to see, that one man.
Right. But it
fascinating.
It was a sense of camaraderie of all men that I'm hearing you saying. Of all
you see, the rough edge of the steel band movement, that was the hangers-on and the women. The guys who were interested in the music, and those days meant music in really lowercase letters, because we didn't know what G-sharp was or anything. But we were more interested in perpetuating some kind of history or some kind of image of good music. The other guys were fighting.
Right.
So you had a sort of double-edged kind of benefit. You know, people in the college wouldn't want to mess with you because you knew some of the real bad John fellas.
Right.
And yet the people who were seriously looking over the fence to see what this art form would ever become were continuously being pleased and satisfied with the results.
Right. You know, I talk.
Really.
Yeah, fascinating, man. Because in talking to Art Decoto, the late Art Decoto, I was shocked that he was a founding member of Casablanca. And
yes, he was.
And you were telling me that he was also a member of T.A.S.P.O too. Tell me about T.A.S.P.O too, because people don't know that there was a T.A.S.P.O too.
Mainly because, and for very good reason, that we never left. A hurricane took place. It was May 1955. I remember the entire band. Dudley wasn't there. Another guy called Rock from St. James band. I can't remember their name either. I was on cellos. Another guy from up the Valley Road. Arthur and I were close. I was playing cello, Arthur was playing bass. And it was fun to be, and Griffith was with us too, the same guy who took T.A.S.P.O one.
Right.
He wrote songs for us. That was May 55. And the trip was cancelled because of Hurricane Wells in Florida.
Oh, so you all didn't get a chance to travel?
I knew Arthur. No, we never got a chance to go. I knew Arthur much better in that field than he was eventually as a musical arranger for conventional orchestras.
Yeah.
When Steel talks,
Fascinating,
Everybody
man.
listens.
You know, and
Yes.
so the girls, let's talk a little bit about the Girls Steel Orchestra. What do you know about
right,
it? Because they talked a bit about you, and they called your name that you helped. Sweet little Ellie Richardson, you know, and she said people like
Oh, yeah.
Curtis.
Oh, God, I can see Ellie now.
Yeah, tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
They had as much spunk and as much guts, and to use a bad gender term, as much cojones as we did.
Yeah,
Because they branched out, they were civil servants, they were upper-class girls.
right, right.
And they went into it with the added effect of not only being... Oh, God, 1 second, please.
Sure,
I'm on overseas call, I'll call you back.
sure,
Yeah.
no problem. Go
They
ahead.
went into it... Sorry. They went into it as bravely as we did.
Yeah,
So we couldn't fault them at all. We never worked very closely with them, but we sort of admired each other, what you call in a long spoon fashion.
right, right.
But Hazel Hendy, who is now quite ill and quite advanced in an Alzheimer's stage, she was
Yeah.
one of the moving lights in that band. So was Ellie Robertson. So was Pat Maurice and
Right.
Barney Maurice, her sister, who is now dead.
Yeah,
And they were like a little under the elbow of Invaders.
right, right, right.
Ellie Manette would teach them a few songs. Jocelyn Pierre, I think, was also involved with them.
Right, right, right.
It was a lovely, lovely era. I mean,
Yeah.
that will never come back. I don't want
Right.
a song like When I Was
No,
Young.
no, it's true, you know, but these things are things that should be heard. The young people should hear it, you know, because right now, the way the thing is going is though you come up, you make a pan, you beat in a pan, and this thing is just, nobody understands the blood, the sweat, and the
Correct.
tears that were shed. And the joys, too, of love and camaraderie was shared in the development of this instrument.
Absolutely correct. You see, what they see now is a lot of icing. They don't know anything about the cake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They want a superficial approach and say, oh, it looks nice. They don't know who sweat to put the foundation in the cake that somebody can come and ice now.
Right, yeah.
Still sweet, though.
Now, Dixieland, what happened? Where did it go? I mean, number one, did you all do any recordings? I think I saw one album that was done. RCA did it, right?
That's the only one we did. That's right. That was done in probably just after we won the music festival, probably 1960, 61.
Yeah.
And then we left in May 61 for London. That's the only recording of any quality or note that we did. There were other little tapes done from TV shows and stuff.
Right. I have, by the
That
way,
record is very, very...
I want to let you know that I do have it in my possession. I have a copy in my collection.
I gave someone who wanted to take to the States to have it, what they call it, computer enhanced.
Right.
So
Are you going to do it?
the guy has it and he's going to get it back to me.
Uh-huh.
He's going to take the same disc, you know.
Yeah.
But of course, getting somebody to own a 33 and a third turntable now is like, you know,
I know.
searching for needle and
I know. But this is something else.
The other recording we did in 1973 was along with the Holy Name Convent Choir.
Yes.
That was Sing Out My Soul.
Right. I have that too.
That was also a very big hit. Diana Reiner from Reiner's Records store told me, she said, Curtis, that was the biggest seller of any LP record in Caribbean history.
Man.
I said, are you serious? Above Byron Lee, above Sparrow?
Yeah.
He said, yes. Because you had 4 target audiences.
Yeah.
You had Pan, you had choral, you had the rhythm group that played with the choir, and you had the religious people who bought it.
Man, we are having a Caribbean Catholic convention here in North America, the first of its kind in August. And that CD is one of the CDs that we intend to play at the convention.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's
Very,
beautiful.
Very good.
It was my mother's favorite CD, I have to say. Sing Out My Soul.
Everybody this played on Sunday morning still, you know.
Yeah.
There's a guy that sells lottery, and he said, Curtis, if you get one of those, please go back. I know you'll never be able to find it, you know.
Right.
The next day, I had a copy made and given to him. He didn't kiss me, and that was all.
So tell me what happened with Dixieland. I mean, I know
They
it's
haven't gone to London. That was the big thing. We're going to see Fame and Fortune. We went up there. It just didn't dissolve really, but the work for a 13-piece steel band in London wasn't there. When we reached there in 1961, or it was Russell Henderson met us in Southampton. He said, "Will you come with 3 bands?" Because in their days, they used to have a 3-piece band for economic reasons, obviously.
Right.
And they never saw a full band of 13 people along with a dancer and vocalist, you see. So we got certain jobs, but not enough to make us get rich. And one by one, the guy said, "Look, I'm going to look for a job." And another guy said, "I'm coming back home." One said his wife was ill, she came back. And then just before we were ready to give up the ghost, we got a call from Eric Williams asking if we go to Southern Rhodesia to do something for the International Congress of African Culture.
Yeah.
Our job really was to go down there and show off this little esoteric instrument and play scale up, chord down. No real music, guys. We just want you to show that they can get. It was a beautiful setting. We had Ella Fitzgerald. We had some of the top trumpeters, black African culture, right?
Right.
And we were playing this thing on a stage like little fools. And then one day I said, "You see, enough of this crap, let's hit them some cha-cha-cha and calypso." And we brought the place down. We were supposed to spend 4 days there. We spent 4 weeks. We were booked into a hotel. We played along with some of the top drummers. We played with Pearl Connor was there at the time.
Right.
A few of our top people were there. So that, and then Dixieland went back to London. Some came home, I came home, and some of the rest of the guys remained up there, and they're still up there doing little gigs,
Right.
but not with the name Dixieland. When I came back here in 67, I think, we went to Panorama for the last time. I think we came second. But after that, the band just dissolved. People look at me sort of askance and say, "But you really let us down. You should have been doing." But go on, I'm in my 71st year.
Right.
You think I could really take the rigors of screaming at people all night long, trying not to inhale the marijuana smoke?
Yeah.
Very unsuccessful.
Yeah. I hear you.
I still love it though.
Yeah. Yeah, well, once something was born in you, you just can't give it up like that,
Okay.
But are you satisfied the way you see it's developing now? How would you characterize that, your feelings towards it?
The steel band itself, movement.
Yeah. We can take the steel band and then they take the pan man.
All right. Well, the pan itself is still evolving, but obviously at a slower rate because the quality of the tenor pans today is really, really excellent. The standardization of the note placement, as we call it, is almost complete with the tenors. In other words, a man from Desperados could come and play a pan from All Stars or from Southern Symphony or wherever. In the lower range pans, there's still a little bit of personal preferences for where they want the note placement, which makes it difficult for bands to go abroad and not have to carry their pans because they wouldn't be able to play on a standard set of instruments.
Right.
Other than that, the quality and the tone of the instruments is good. The pan man has 2 challenges. One is he should be able to learn music in order to read, simply to be able to save time practicing. Guys who have been to Finland and Holland, they're young bands, they're 11 years old, 12-year-old kids. They come off the streets, take off their earmuffs, take all their warm clothing, put up their music sheets, and it's 2, 3, 4. And they swing into the thing because they're reading music. Not necessarily sight reading, but speeding up the learning process where we have to learn by rote.
Right.
It's a nice appeal, it's a nice atmosphere to go there and hear, "Oh, take it again, take it again, take it again."
Right.
So the musical part of the pan man has to be improved. The other part that has to be improved, there are other facets of a successful steel band. The first thing of all is the learning of the music. A steel band organization should be able to contact its members. They should computerize the membership. They should have people lecturing to the guys who control bands on the proper way to write a contract so you don't get screwed when you go aboard.
Right.
These I don't want to call them impresarios. I know what I want to say. They bring you abroad, they make all sorts of promises, and the worst case scenario, you don't have no tickets to go back home because it wasn't in the contract. But you go to the pan men of today who run the show and you say, "Why don't you get so? We have boys at UE are prepared to help you write a contract. Teach you out. Well, we don't want that. We don't need that. We could tune an oil drum. We could do anything." That is false pride and downright stupidity.
Right.
Because, there are people who love the steel band movement who are versed in those disciplines would more than willingly come across to help. Whether to teach music or to talk about the law with regard to copyright and that sort of stuff. But no, these van men in their own little cravages, they want to get praise for something which they're really out of their depth in. So that is one little anchor around the board that is pulling back the sailing.
Right. Well, this...
I know I could be pilloried for this, but
yeah.
not going to kill me.
All right. I want to thank you for the contacts, and I'll be calling you again and chatting with you again, okay?
I'm going to mail some stuff up to you, as I promise.
Please do, okay. Well, you take care, Curtis.
Okay,
God bless,
right.
and
live long.
Right, live long. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I've been speaking with Curtis Pierre, a pioneer, former captain
talks,
of Dixieland Steel
everybody
Orchestra.
listens. When Steel talks, everybody listens.